help me welcome very talented Beatrix Carroll, everyone.
So, I recently started seeing a personal trainer because I wanted to work on my self-esteem. But then I realized that my self-esteem was perfectly fine as it was, and that my trainer is a passive-aggressive asshole. In our first session together, Joe asked, and don't worry, okay, Joe's not his real name. It's Joseph. In our first session together, he asked me, what do I want to get out of personal training? And I was like, well, ideally, I'd like to come out looking like a Kardashian, but I'm a realist, so I'll settle for Charlize Theron. A young Charlize. And he was like, oh, you kind of look like Charlize Theron. And I was like, thank you so much. He was like, yeah, isn't she in Monster? Yeah. I feel like all guys are really like raised in the art of the subtle insult, like they're all really good. Like this one douchebag I was seeing, who he would try and make me jealous by talking about how other women were hot, which is like, okay, yeah, it bothers me because obviously it's fucked up that he wants to make me feel insecure in the first place, but what I think is more fucked up is that he thinks that the way to do that is by talking about another girl being hot. Like, come on, dude, don't assume that that's my main goal in life. Okay, like maybe it is, but don't assume. That's rude. Like he saw, I had a copy of Cosmo magazine laying around with Megan Fox on the cover. And he's like, oh damn, that Megan Fox, she's pretty hot. And I'm like, yeah, thanks Christopher Columbus. But also, yeah, Megan Fox is super hot, but I have it on pretty good authority that she sucks at debugging software. So I guess we're like tied. Because that's what I do. Yeah, so like I said, I work in software engineering. Is anyone here like... Oh, right. So a lot of you guys are really passionate about engineering and technology. That's awesome. Personally, not for me. It's just something I started doing to sound more interesting at girls' night. Okay, but before you judge me, it's not that simple. It's not what you think. Girls' night, it's this thing where I get together with a bunch of guys I met on Tinder and we watch girls. I mean, I'm pretty open and upfront about the fact that the only reason I do anything that I do is to sound more interesting in like an online dating profile setting. It's why I got into DJing and beekeeping. That's actually one hobby. The two skills are not impressive unless you can do them at the same time. Thanks to James Franco. It's also why I got into stand-up comedy. No, I'm obviously joking. I did have an ulterior motive, though, for getting into stand-up. The feminist in me just wants to be a role model for all the funny little girls out there who might have chosen a career in comedy if only they'd seen more women doing it. That was supposed to be a joke. The punchline was the idea that girls are funny. Okay, see, that was the actual joke. Joke's on you, you're a bunch of sexist assholes. You've just been exposed. You know, not all men are idiots, but all the men I've dated are, so that's probably only about 60% of the males in New York. Including gays. And, you know, like I went on a first date with this guy and then I didn't hear from him, and I wanted to reach out, but I'm really not experienced at like starting a text conversation with a guy. So I thought about it for a while, and then I finally just sent him a simple text that said, hey, I finally got that stain out of my dress. Who knew linen could harden like that? And I didn't even hear from him. I know. So then I had to do damage control, make sure I didn't sound too needy. So I sent a quick follow-up that just said, whoops, wrong text. Anyways, what are you up to? Oh yeah. Needless to say, I moved on from him. And I thought I met a guy that I had a real connection with, but then he dumped me because I'm a non-Jew. And then he had the nerve to imply that it was my own fault for not being more clear about my background back when I first met him on JDate. So now I just have a super honest JDate profile. My username is Shixappeal. And my about me just says, willing to convert. In the meantime, let's get together and piss off your mom. Thanks, guys.